Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Joining me today on the block is me. I am flying solo here on the block. So we will be recapping today, episode 21 of Big Brother Canada, season 9. Now, if it's the first time you've been joining me on the block, make sure you do us a favor and subscribe to Reality Pop. It's going to be your new hub for all things reality TV. So starting with Big Brother Canada today. It's really hard for me to talk about what's happened in this episode because it's been an insane weekend. So I'm probably going to want to talk about the happenings and the going-ons just a little bit up to date at the end, but I'm just going to go through the episode right now. So it starts, I love the announcer. He's doing a really good job with coming up with funny catchphrases and kind of slogans. He says, "The mullet man has stepped out of the grave," referring to Kiefer last episode, managing to get the trio to keep him in the game. Now, we did talk a little bit about how we don't think that is necessarily was the best decision for them to do, but we were going to stand by it. You know, he was definitely Sunsetter strong. You know, let's keep Kiefer here. It was great for my draft that I have on the Reality Stock Watch. So Tara is the new head of household, and it's definitely the worst case scenario for Jed, for Ty, and for Beth, especially because previous week, Jedson just put up Tara and she managed to save herself and sent her best friend out the door, Tina. And then Beth, the couple weeks before, she also put Tara up on the block. And so I would be pretty nervous if I was part of the trio, just having so much power in the game up until this point, that someone that's been on the bottom or not part of their alliance or not making any of these decisions now has the power to break you up, and good reason to. So I would be shaking in my boots if I was in the sauce for sure. The announcer also calls this week the reign of terror, which I thought was like perfect little pun there, announcer guy. And so he says, "How many Sunsetters can you throw under the bus?" So even the announcer knows that the trio, the sauce, is in hot water or hot sauce. It's going to be hot sauce this week for sure. So the trio has been running the house for the most part. You know, they haven't, and none of them have touched the block up until this point. They definitely have had a lot of influence with who was going home. The only time they really weren't in control was the week where LaToya went home. And after that, they were able to really, they were in the right side of the vote and they got what they wanted to have happen. So they are a power trio. And Jed and Beth are in a relationship, and Jed and Ty are besties. So it's most likely that Tara's going to want to break that up. It's not possible for her to win with three of them in the end. It's just not a thing. So right after, you know, Tara wins, she has to decide who is going to be have-nots. And of course, that trio has never been have-nots. So those are going to be the three people that will not be able to get any good food. So it's not going to be a great week for the trio. They're going to have no sauce this week. So Kiefer has such a big ego with himself in the game. And hey, I am definitely one for people being like, you know, really empowering themselves and being confident and really, you know, gathering up that energy to be successful. Absolutely. I believe in power of attention, power of like positive images and creating a reality. Of course, I believe in all that. But this is how Kiefer's like, yeah, I'm going to win this one. I'm going to win next week. So don't worry, Tara. Like, you know, just put them up, whatever. Like, I'm going to win it. Me and you, Tara, till the end. Like, we're going to do it. And I think that he actually believes this without a doubt. And the last two competitions that Kiefer has played in, he hasn't really done very well. So the fact that he's so confident that he is 100% winning this next head of household, no matter what, like what if it's a crapshoot? Like you can't guarantee that you're going to win the next head of household, especially since you've lost a couple. So you don't really have the stats to be like, I win everything. So, but one thing that was really cute was we saw Tara, Kiefer, and Brayden celebrating in the storage room. This is the first time really that they've all really had any power, except for when Austin was head of household. I don't remember if they did like a super excited dance. It was near the beginning of the season, so it really wasn't that do or die for them to be winning this power. So having their little celebratory dance, and I don't remember who said it, but somebody said, we finally won one, which is, I think probably Tara would have been somebody that would say that, because Tara has been like pretty down on herself with the fact that they're always like never winning and never having any power and always having to succumb to the desires of the trio and never really having any agency in what happens. Even though I do think that they could have steered all the oddballs and all the people on the outside in a different way, but they didn't really use all the people that weren't part of this trio to their advantage. So that's just a little critique on their game. I think that they could have had more power earlier on because they did have the numbers, but they weren't really playing, it seems. But anyways, I am happy for them to have a change in energy, change in, the type of strategizing that's going to be going on. So I'm happy for this new trio that has been forming or is forming now. So basically, the sauce. So the isosceles triangle is Jed, Tara, and Beth. I'm not going to lie, I really do love the name, but they're just banking on the fact that maybe Tara will only put one of them up because that's the only chance of having them both stay. And so if you can think this up, guys, like Tara can think this up as well. And no matter what, she's going to want to get one of the trio out. It doesn't matter. I know that on Thursday, I was thinking, and so was JoJo, that potentially it would be Kiefer and Jed on the block. And that's kind of what she had said. But as things kind of change, obviously you saw in the episode and in the feeds as well, is that, Kiefer wasn't even going to be really an option. He wanted to, because she knew that if Kiefer goes up, Kiefer goes out. And she kind of has to work with Kiefer. If Kiefer is going to be winning some of these endgame competitions, he may want to keep Tara around because Tara is potentially easier to beat. At this point, though, I do think that Kiefer can beat pretty much anyone. But if he wants like a sure thing, or maybe guarantee Tara has the $20,000, just because she does have a family and they can bond over that. So I can see why that, they want to go to the end with each other. But I do think that Kiefer is in a pretty good position, especially since it doesn't look like he's going to be touching the block to get to the end and win. Because if he doesn't win head of household, he may very well win the power of veto. So the sauce are talking in the kitchen about how, like, we'll just make Tara only put one of us up, and then we'll tell her that we're voting out Brayden, but then we'll all just stay, and that's the only way that we can keep ourselves together. And they're laughing, they're kind of snickering, and they're like, I don't want to go out on Tara's HOH, like that's not a thing, and they're just being a little bit kind of mean and catty a little bit, and Tara could actually hear. Now, it sucks when you overhear people talking about you. So I definitely can feel for, overhearing things are just kind of like unfavorable. But I also get that the sauce is like trying to make themselves not feel that they're down and out and they don't have a chance. So they are trying to keep their spirits up at the same time. But unfortunately, it was at the cost of Tara overhearing and just like not really speaking that well about Tara. Unfortunately, but they haven't really been speaking that well about each other, with like Tara not about them very well and them about Tara for the whole game, really. So it's kind of expected, but I felt kind of bad for Tara, unfortunately. So, Tara though, she's pretty pissed, and she tells Kiefer about the conversation that she overheard them having. And basically she said that she's going to have the last laugh when the two of you are sitting together on the block. And so it's kind of like you're in the Big Brother house, and it's not like you're in a locked away room where the door is shut. Like you're in the kitchen where it's an open space and there's little areas where people can hide, or like where you can't see them, that they can still hear you. And so the fact that they're just so flippant and like unconcerned with maybe somebody hearing them, I can't tell if it's just really bad gameplay or if it's just arrogance. Like it's just so confusing to me, because it's always usually whispers in the Big Brother house. Like even if the door is shut, you're still whispering because you don't want anybody to overhear anything, especially if you're speaking poorly about the head of household, who is most likely trying to get one of you out. It just seems a little silly. But as we learned this whole week, that silly is, I don't even know if that's the right word to describe this trio. I don't even know. If you have been watching the feeds, you will know what I mean when you're just like, I don't know what's happening here. This is insanity. So Tara's in her HOH room, and she asked everybody to come and see her, obviously, and see her family. You know, the usual, who wants to see my HOH room? She has pictures of her dog. She has a cute little, I think it's a little French bulldog. And she has a letter from both of her mom and her dad, which was quite sweet. Her dad called her Tiger Tara, which apparently is the first time that her father has ever called her Tiger Tara. And Braden's so good with the little quips, with the little lines. He's like, it's trick shot Tara to you now, Dad. Yeah, Braden's really great with making people feel good and smile. Like, I really like Braden. All right, Natalie says, this week is so messy and the worst strategy week in Big Brother Canada history. Everybody is making terrible decisions. Natalie, I'm with you here. After I get to through this episode, I'll just like tell everybody that there's going to be spoilers, and then we can talk ad nauseum about like what's actually going on. So we will get to it. I don't know, I'll probably get to the end pretty quickly, like in 15 minutes or so. So if you have any key points that you want us to like be like, what is happening? Write them down, and then we will talk about them in a bit. So after Tara's HOH room is done, who's she talking to? Oh, she's talking to Beth. Okay, so Beth and Tara have had a few conversations this episode. And the first one being Beth saying to Tara that she wants to work with her, and Tara's like, I don't want you to go home this week. It's not, her main concern is that Beth is safe this week. And Beth's like, yeah, if I go up, I go home. And Tara's like, yes, I don't want that to happen. And so she wants to make Tara believe that she is going to vote out Jed. So, okay, yes, everybody knows that one of the moves that that Beth is going to have to do is maybe take out Ty or Jed, and that will give her some credibility in her game, and she'll be able to take credit for some of the moves that were maybe a joint decision. Absolutely, like it is a thing, but I don't know if it's the right time to try to convince Tara of that. I feel like it's something that needed to be convinced before she was HOH, but that's just me. They have a different idea as to how these people operate. And so Beth thought it was the the perfect time to start planting the seed that maybe it's going to be the week for her to take out Jed. So Beth is like, I just want everything that we talk about to stay here. And that she's saying that because she knows it's going to spread around. But like, just to see if it trails back is also really, really good for Beth to kind of see what's going on potentially, but I think it's going to backfire. So Beth is talking about how she didn't come here for a boyfriend, that she's coming here to win this game. She doesn't want to be seen as only being in a showmance. Like, she wants to show that she's been playing this game and that she's making moves in this game. And so she's really laying it on to Tara. That's like, me and you, if one of us goes, the other one is out. We have to work together. And to a certain extent, she is right. But the fact that Beth, at this point, is lying to Tara. It's kind of like, it's a bit messy, Beth. It's a bit messy. Actually, a lot messy, Beth. So in another chit chat, Brayden comes into the head of household while Tara and Kiefer are there. And they talk about themselves being the new power trio, which like I'm kind of vibing. But I guess my one problem is that kind of like Beth, Kiefer also is really high on his own supply. Like he just thinks that he is the biggest mastermind. He's the best game player ever. And he's made some decent moves, but he's definitely not the best game player that I've ever seen. And just because he says it so many times doesn't mean that it's absolutely true. It might be true to him, but it's not true to me and what I look for in really great gameplay. And so because he's not on the ropes anymore, it seems as though he's really, thinks that he's going to win. Like everybody else is going to lose this game, and he can't do any wrong. Like especially because he doesn't even feel like it's a possibility that Tara's going to put him up. And I mean, if she's not going to put him up, that's pretty good like maneuvering. But there's something about how arrogant he's coming across right now. It's a little bit off-putting, but I do like the fact that maybe Brayden has a chance here. Like we all want Brayden to do well, and now that he has a little bit of power, aligning with Tara and aligning with Kiefer, I think that maybe some good gameplay might emerge from Brayden. Maybe, and he's like involved in the moves and making some decisions that might help him be able to make a game move and then potentially be in a winning position. So happy that the trio is forming, but Kiefer is a little bit too arrogant right now for me. It's a little bit annoying. But Kiefer does say that Ty is the key. He wants to know what Ty's end game is. He mentions that, Jed and Beth are both taking each other to the end. Who's taking Ty? What's Ty's plan for later down the road? And so Kiefer does recognize this and feels as though he could bring in Ty into their trio because Ty does have a better shot at winning the game with those four as opposed to with the trio and Kiefer per se. So it's a good idea, but it's just so, I just don't like the idea that the Sunsetters are turning on, that Kiefer's turning on the Sunsetters. I know I would be bitter as heck if they put me on the block. Even if they kept me, I'd just be like, I had to fight hard to stay here, and you guys are supposed to be my closest allies. I'd probably still be pissed. So I'm not mad at him for not staying true to the Sunsetters, but I know that if one of them had one head of household, he would have been so on them and like, let's get out Tara. And so it's just like a little bit of an eye roll. It's like playing the middle that it's good, but it's just really annoying to me. Just choose your side and stick to it. Like this back and forth middle thing is just irritating. So one thing though that Kiefer does do is tell them about the name of the Sunsetters. So he doesn't feel as though the trio has a name. So he doesn't know about the sauce, the sauce. But Brayden's like, they must have a name. And Kiefer's like, no, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. So at least they're keeping that under wraps. And so with them not knowing that they even have like a name, that they're that solid, is really good for any of them to maybe be like, hey, I'm not really that into this trio. Like I'm not really stuck in it, but with a name, it just really solidifies it. And so the fact that they don't know that there's a name floating out there, that they've had this name for quite a while, and they even have their little finger symbol, I think it is best case scenario for the trio. So Kiefer talks to Ty and talks about how, him and Brayden would be his best path to the end. Ty and Brayden have developed a pretty close relationship. Obviously, Kiefer inserts himself into any of these alliances because he wants to be protected from all sides. It's smart. So he kind of talks to Ty about like, hey, like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to have to turn on them one of these days. Like, maybe this is the week. And so he kind of sets it into Ty's mind that it might be the time to turn on the trio or on the Sunsetters. So Ooh. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about with Kiefer. So Kiefer is saying to, who was he saying it to? I think he was saying to Tara, actually, like, it's best not to burn bridges, and I'm going to win the head of household next week. And it's like, you don't know that for sure. You don't. It could be any type of competition. You didn't win the last one. Just saying. And what's really like, I don't know if I like it or despise it, but the fact that all of this mess that's happening is all for naught because it's a fake double eviction. So, like, all this planning and, all the things that are coming out of this week, it's very interesting. I don't think it's the best gameplay personally, but it's interesting, and it would be really nice for some people to reap what they've sowed. And like, I want to see that reaction, but to know that no matter how this whole week shakes out, that they have a 50% chance of coming back into the game. And that's, it just makes, in my opinion, makes it fall flat. But then on the other side, I'm like, but also though, it would be a nice big, you thought you got me out. You guys lied to me, or whatever happens. And, they didn't. So that might be worth it. A nice little depending on who ends up going. So we will see how that is going to go down. So Ty is a little bit conflicted, of course. He's like, I don't know if I can turn on my alliance. Like, that's not the type of guy I am. Like, I kind of said that I'm just going to be sticking with these guys till the end. But then I also have to think of like my game and what can I do to win this, and how can I set myself up for success in this game. So he's kind of like, battling between like stick with my alliance or put myself in a better position to potentially win. So this is where Ty is at. And it is, I think, with some nudging, light nudging from Kiefer about like, well, what are you going to do? Like, they're not taking you to the end. How are you going to get there? And it's true. It is true. But I don't know personally if it's better for Jed to be a fourth with Tara, Brayden, and Kiefer, or be a third or a duo with I don't know. I don't know what's better for him, but I get it that I just don't know if he should just make this move. I'm scared that he's going to turn on Jed. And well, I don't care about Beth. No offense, Beth. I was liking you for a bit, but I didn't like you this week. I'm sorry. So one thing that Ty was doing, okay, this was so cool because I just binge watched Queen's Gambit last night. So I watched all 7 episodes on Netflix, and I was like, oh my God, I need to, like, chess is the one game that I never learned how to play. I know how all the pieces move, but I don't know optimum strategy. So I don't know how to win, and I don't know how to set people up to win. Like, I don't get that part of chess. So the fact that Ty decides to use chess and analogies on all the players that are left in the game, I thought was really fun. So I wrote them down. Let's see if I can read them and we can talk about them a little bit. So Ty, comparing these players to chess pieces, he thinks that the queen, who is the most dangerous piece in the game, is Jed. He thinks that the king is Beth, because Jed, the queen, will protect the king at all costs, but the king, or Beth, doesn't want to protect anyone. Pretty good call. The rook moves in straight lines, and this is Tara, because Tara is a straight shooter. The knight is tricky and difficult to read, and don't know what moves they're going to make, which is true because the knight moves in an L straight shape. So they kind of have a few outs where they can move to. And so it's kind of like, it's not cut and dry what the knight is going to do. So that's like Kiefer. You don't know what he's going to do. He's going to make that L shape because, he's a little bit, he puts himself in good positions, but you can't fully trust what he's going to say. So agreed with all of them so far. And Brayden is the pawn. The pawn is, Brayden hasn't had many moves in this game, which we know. He's been up on the block once and he didn't go home. So that would make him be kind of a pawn in that situation because he was never the target. And he's also seemingly expendable. A lot of people are saying like, oh, we'll put up Brayden. Oh, we'll just put Brayden on the block. Like nobody seems to be valuing Brayden's as a house guest. So yes, I can see Brayden as the pawn. And then the bishop is Ty, because he needs to work with others to take out the king and or queen. So I thought that was a pretty great analogy. And like, I like the fact that he knows how to play chess and he understands the strategy behind it. I just hope that he brings some of that strategy into the game, as opposed to just like maybe thinking about it on the periphery and giving nice names to, or, you know, assigning pieces to people. But like, where are you actually placed on the board here? And is this the optimal move, or is it a move? Are you going to end up being sacrificed and someone's going to take you out? So I don't know, Ty. I don't know. Hopefully he can think about the situation a little bit better, especially if he's using this analogy. Think about it like a grandmaster in chess. After watching that movie, I was totally like, oh my God, I'm downloading chess apps. I'm like, I need to learn how to play chess. So I literally downloaded 2 apps, one for kids. So it's like a game where you can only move like certain pieces, and then you kind of learn how to like avoid creatures that come to your square and tiles and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty interesting to be thinking about how to attack and how to avoid being attacked by the way the other knights or the other pieces capture and stuff like that. So I was spending my last night learning how to play chess a little bit. And so it was nice to see a little chess reference here. It must have been meant to be. It must be, I'm meant to learn how to play chess very well. And I'll learn before I go on Big Brother. That is my goal. So Beth wakes up and her first words out of her mouth is, I'm a genius. Oh, Beth. I mean, she wants to get credit for things that have happened in the game. I get that. But just kind of like Kiefer, it's kind of like just zip it up a little bit and save it for the final 2 speech, you know? I mean, I know she was talking to the cameras here, but I think that her desire to want to be seen for all the moves that she's made and be taken, like she wants to be the target because she is the better player. She's made all the moves. But it's kind of like Beth, like, just, you could tell them later that I wasn't carried here. I made all these decisions. Like, if they're gone, if they're not in the game anymore and you are up there and you're trying to win, you will be able to do so. You'll be able to say whatever you want. You'll be able to make your case. And so the fact that she's, I think, a little bit preemptive on making, like, saying that she's the best game player, it's just kind of like, it's just a little bit early, hun. Little bit early. And so she wants to make a plan. So this is the first, I'll say, cockanani plan that has been hatched this week. So the first plan is that she wants Tara to believe that she would backdoor Jed. So not to put Jed up on the block, but instead put up Brayden and Ty both as pawns and convince them that it's the week and she's ready to take out Jed as a backdoor. Now, I guess she's not that big of a Big Brother fan, because in order for it to be a backdoor, the person can't be playing and then they go up and out. So they never had an opportunity to save themselves. But they're at the final 6. Tara's not playing. So only 5 of them are playing, and one of the 5 will be Jed. So whether he's up on the block or not, he will have the opportunity to play for the veto, which means that it is not a backdoor. So right there, this plan is a little bit off and not well thought out. So what am I writing here? So Beth firstly decides to take this plan to Ty. And Ty's like, he's like, why am I volunteering to go out? Like, who are you, Beth? Like, why don't you go up, Beth? And Beth is like, I know that Tara is not going to put me up. Like, you know, she's sworn her kids. Like, I'm not going to be touching the block. But like, in order for us all to be saved, like, you and Brayden both have to like go and like pitch yourself as pawns, and that will take out Jed in like a backdoor. And Ty is just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. And then Beth does the same thing to Brayden. Now, this was after, though, Kiefer warns Brayden. So I don't know how it got back to Kiefer. Probably maybe Ty told Kiefer that that's what Beth was had up her sleeve. And so Kiefer tells Brayden that Beth is going to come to her with a plan to backdoor Jed when A, backdoor is not a thing this week, and B, that that it's not true. She's not even telling the truth here, that she actually would vote you out, Brayden. So Beth calls Brayden to the Expedia room, and she puts on their biggest acting Oscar moment. The Oscars are next weekend, and she's ready to get the call to win that award. And she's like, oh my God, I've just been thinking about it. Like, I think this is the week. This is the week. I think I'm ready to backdoor Jed. Oh my God. Oh my God. And he's like totally playing it up like, oh my God, girl. Like, it was such a fake moment. And it was hysterical to watch, because especially us knowing that Brayden knew that this was coming. So like, he's acting. And then the fact that we know that Beth is only doing this because he's trying to keep Jed off the block. And so it just was a lot of bad acting, but it was hysterical to watch. I don't even know why Beth thinks that this is a good plan, and that two people are going to want to put their game in jeopardy to maybe save Jed, or to be involved in this plan, that her genius plan. So Brayden even says in his confessional that Beth is slightly delusional here, because there's no way that he's going to be volunteering to go up on the block to save Jed. Like, no, no, no. So next, Beth talks to Tara again. And Tara says that she's trying to avoid her going up on the block. And so Beth also says that weirdly she trusts Tara the most. Like, she trusts Tara. Well, they need to work together. They can't not be, they can't be going against each other. She can't go home, because if she goes home, Tara goes home next week. And I think these all things are true. It's just that they've been kind of going at each other from the beginning. Like, they've always had each other on their radar. And so I think it's just hard for either of them to have any trust in each other, because they've been playing against each other for so long in the game, and they haven't fully had honest conversations. Like, they might have had some moments where it's like, hey, we need to keep the girls together. And that might have been true in that moment, but they haven't really built any trust with each other. So it was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be working out for you, Beth. I don't think so. So Kiefer obviously tells Tara after about Beth's master plan to get Jed to not be on the block, to backdoor, to pretend like they want to backdoor Jed, but really they just want Kiefer up on the block. It's just a mess. Jonathan, what does Jonathan have to say? Do I need my glasses? I do. So, Jonathan, hello. Beth was sloppy today. I take back every nice thing I said, happy face. Although I love tonight's episode and can appreciate everyone trying to save themselves. Yes, Jonathan, I can appreciate everybody trying to save themselves. I think it's just that everybody's really bad at Big Brother. I think that that's just what it is. And we're not used to seeing people playing so poorly, but it was a very enjoyable episode. I thought I was engaged the whole time. Also, just be like, what are you guys doing? I mean, Beth, like, this is not the plan. This is not the plan at all. So yes, Kiefer tells Tara about Beth's silly plan, and that Beth is doing way too much. And Tara is like, I'm not putting Brayden up. Like, that's not a thing. I'm not putting Brayden up. And it doesn't show this in the episode, but I believe in, like, on the feeds, she kind of, like, basically went from really wanting Beth to stay to kind of being like, oh, okay, well, she's lying to me and doesn't necessarily want to vote out Jed, well then, maybe I'm going to have to change the thoughts on these nominations here, because, you know, I don't trust what she has to say. So Kiefer's commitment to himself has me rooting for him. Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to root for him. I was rooting for him last week. Like I root for him back and forth, but it's that whole like I'm the best player thing already, and like I want to be known as the greatest of all time. And him and Beth just having that whole like I'm so good at this game, and they're just not. It's just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I just don't know if he will actually win because like I don't know. I can't see it fully anymore. Like I used to be able to see him being the winner, but now that he keeps on saying so often like how he's so great and amazing, maybe it's just because it's annoying me and I don't want him to win anymore, but definitely I do kind of appreciate him wanting to stay, of course, and making moves to do so. And I think it was smart of him to tell Brayden what was up, so he can kind of keep control of the information, and make it look to Brayden like, hey, like I'm giving you a heads up, like, use this information wisely. He saved himself last week when he was going home and they got rid of Tina, who has done nothing. Okay, yes, but they didn't really it wasn't fully Kiefer. Like they showed in the episode, it made it seem as though Kiefer convinced them, but it was a whole storm of other things that made them want to keep Kiefer instead. It wasn't just like that one conversation that you saw of them having together. That was just kind of like on top of everything. So I appreciate it, like being on the block, being the target, and staying. He did something in order for that to change, but it wasn't really all him. And that's a huge resume move. I know, and that's another thing too that I was thinking when they decided to keep him. I'm like, you got to take him out because if he saves himself, that means he's going to be the most difficult to beat in the end, 100%, hands down. And so I was just kind of like, why would you give him another resume move so that like, even if you take him at the end, like you don't have a chance to win. I just don't know if he's going to get there now though. With him talking so much about how he's the best player and he's going to win, I think that Brayden will take that chance at some point, or if he gets it. If, I just don't know if he's as safe as he thinks he is. And that's just all I'll say at this point. Always a mistake to build someone else's resume and keep someone who would turn on you. Exactly. And so it's kind of like you broken his trust completely. You said that he was expendable. You didn't want him to be in this game anymore. And then you changed your mind. And then you expect him to be at your beck and call and just still be super loyal to you. Like, yeah, maybe if you guys had one head of household, he would have been super loyal to you. But the fact that you didn't means that he doesn't have to be anymore. And he can always say, like, you didn't care if I was in this game. Like, sorry, bye. I just feel like it means that he can take a shot whenever he wants, and it's fair. It's all fair game. Like they can't be like, you lied to us. It's like, well, you were going to evict me, babe. Like, sorry. Like, yeah. So I totally agree, Jonathan. If you are going to put your ally up, you better take them out because they're not going to come back with hugs and kisses. No. They're going to come back with a vengeance, especially Kiefer. I know he was pretending like he's going to be, everything's all good, sunsetters to the end, but it's kind of like, when you get the opportunity now, you can flip on them. It's kind of like if you have too many alliances in a game and then someone screws you over, you're like, perfect, okay, good. Now I don't have to be loyal to you anymore. Like he's probably was waiting for an opportunity to be able to turn on them without looking like a bad person. And now he can. So bad move on the Sauce, keeping him last week, especially because they put him up. If they were going to just take him out, you have to follow through. Like, don't get me started about the Sauce. They're so bad. They just make such bad decisions. And Jonathan, you don't know how many times they went back and forth. Like I did an update for Rob as a Podcast last Wednesday, and I had like 10 pages of notes for the day where they went this way, then they went this way, and they went backward and just back so many times. And then we did the recap. We just like skipped through to the last few times, and like they flipped back and forth so many times. So they suck. Okay, Jonathan has a question. What does the sauce taste like? The sauce. The sauce tastes like bad moves and morning breath. Like, I don't know. Bad game moves and morning breath. Sweet and sour, bitter. Oh, the sauce. I think it's sweet and sour because they're not that bitter because they don't feel like they're out. They don't feel like at this point that Tara is going to get one up on them. So I think that they're a little bit sour that they didn't win and that the one person that they didn't want to win the head of household did. And so I think they're sweet and sour. They're faking being nice, faking it to Miss Tara. But they're kind of sour that they didn't win and that they're kind of in jeopardy this week, and probably that they're on slop. But yeah, I don't think that they're bitter yet, but they might be at the end of this week. What other sauces are there? I'm like, hot mustard? No. Barbecue? Nah. But no, they're sweet and sour. Yeah. Or like maybe a little bit sriracha. Wait, Jonathan, do you like hot sauce in general? Okay, so yes, Kiefer tells Tara best plan. It was so embarrassing. I'm just like, oh my God. But Tara is smart. She decides to take Ty to Wendy's. So they've already been talking about like Ty is maybe the key here to get the fourth vote, you know, to get Ty on our side, break up the couple. And, you know, we would have the numbers here potentially to go against the other two. And so she takes Ty to Wendy's. And just last week, she was taken to Wendy's by Jen. And so she goes down and she sees her family and her cute kids saying, like, who wants to see your HOH room? Super duper adorable. And her husband seems like quite handsome man as well. That's all I said about the kids, wasn't it? Yeah. Kids, though, they're so cute. So Ty says that he can't win against the sauce or win against the other two. And he says that he's always felt as though he was the third wheel. He wasn't necessarily making all the decisions. Like he was agreeing with the decisions that the couple made. And so I don't know if he fully feels that way, but this is what he's expressing to Tara. No hot sauce, Jonathan. What? No hot sauce for me. Frowny face. But if someone wants to call me hot sauce, I accept. You are hot sauce. Hot sauce. Yes, Sriracha. Yes, Franks. So are you Franks? That's sad though. I love hot sauce. Sasha, last week. Oh, wait, you haven't watched the Challenge All Stars yet, have you? Jonathan, get caught up. It's good. So I thought this was another funny line of Brayden. I should like write down all of Brayden's funny lines. Oh, and Jonathan, did you hear what I think that we'll do at the end of the season for like a recap? Is so I'll go through and I'll transcribe all of the announcers like commentary through an episode. So it's like joining us on the blog, Big Brother, like that, all that voice. And so I want to transcribe it. And so we can tell the whole story of Big Brother for the whole season with the announcer's voice, and then we'll speak it like it's poetry, like it's, you know, spoken word evening. We'll just say all the announcers' speech. So if you want in on that, let me know. Me, you, and JoJo will probably do that. If you're down. If you're game. So Brayden and his funny little remark, you know, he's talking to Kiefer about like, you know, Kiefer's like, it's not even a back door. Like, why she keeps on saying it's a back door? And you know, Brayden's annoyed. He's like, yeah, it's not a back door. It's a screen door, which actually it's a screen door because like, you know, you're not on the block, but you're going to be put up if anybody wins the veto. So, you know, you get to win it for yourself. Poetry slam. Exactly. Big Brother poetry slam. What is going to happen. It is. So Tara decides to tell Beth that she is most likely going to be going up, sitting next to Jen. Now, I think this is definitely because Kiefer kind of was telling how Beth was doing too much and she's trying to make this whole backdoor thing, and she's not even telling the truth about it. So I think Tara's just like, you're not pulling one up on me, Beth. I don't necessarily want you to go, but I don't want you to have the power to keep Jed if you wanted to, or not use the veto if you want it or whatnot. So I think that she's like, I'm going to put myself in the best situation here. And so Sarah says, and these are facts, that Beth has put her up, Jed has put her up. And you could see Beth starting to get a little bit bitter. So maybe this is where the bitter sauce is coming in, because she's like, I can't believe that you trust Ty more than you trust me. And basically Tara's like, in her head, it's probably like, yep, I do, because I just heard that this is a whole big scheme and you're not even being truthful with me. But Beth was pissed. Like, she was super pissed. She claims that she 100% threw the veto, which I don't think is true. I mean, any of a veto like that where they're blindfolded and then the next one they had to find the recipe cards, like, you could easily say that you threw something like that because you have to find cards, or you're blindfolded, so you can just be like, oh my God, I can't see anything. So it's easy to say that you threw it, but I don't think she threw it. I think that she's just like grasping at straws here. But Beth says it again, like, hey, if I go out, then you're next, and it'll just be the 4 boys that goes to the end. That is true, though. I have to say, that is true, Beth. So Beth and talks to Jed about the fact that Ty fucked them, and Ty, it was all Ty's fault, and Ty didn't do his part of the plan by saying that he would go up as a pawn. Like, Ty didn't do this. It's like, why would Ty want to do that, Beth? If you don't want to sit up there, why would Ty want to sit up there? Why would Brayden want to sit up there? It's just so ridiculous that she's like being so like indignant about the fact that, like, how dare he not want to go up on the block to protect all of us? Like, get out of here, Beth. Get out of here. So the Ty comes around and Beth kind of calls him out and be like, I can't believe you threw us under the bus. Like, you didn't protect us. Like, whatever you said is making me and Jed be the one that she's nominated. And Ty's like, well, she's not putting up Brayden. And Beth is like, well, I just did a really, really great job. And like, she just might. And Ty's like, Tara told me that there's no way that she's putting up Brayden. And Beth's like, oh, well, like that's not a great attitude to have, Ty. It just kind of storms off. And so definitely giving lots of attitude to Ty here. Next scene is the veto ceremony. The nomination ceremony. And the first nominee is going to be Jedson. And the second nominee is, like she said, it's going to be Beth. Yes, it is. So Beth and Jedson are on the block. So screen doors are dangerous. I know. I've actually walked into a screen door before, and I do feel like some people are going to be walking into a screen door this week. You need to fix those fake butterflies. Wait, I can't see what you said. I can't read it. Dangerous, you need one of those fake butterflies on it. Yeah, so you can tell that it's there, because sometimes you can't see like the grid. The grid. So that is the episode. Do you guys have any more thoughts about what's going on? Jonathan, I was going to maybe talk about what's going on in the house right now. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, you might want to pop off, but if you do, you're welcome to stay and talk about how ridiculous things are in the house. What do you think? And if you do not want to hear any spoilers, well, thanks for joining me on the block. It's been a great season. As much as I'm complaining about these players not being great game players, I'm definitely enjoying myself. I was so upset last season of Big Brother US, season 22, that I stopped like podcasting about it on my channel, because I was just like so upset and miserable. And so at least this one, I look forward to talking about the antics of these messy players. Okay, Jonathan's leaving us. Okay, bye, Jonathan. Thanks for hanging. So, going on in this house right now. So, I don't know how they did it. I don't know what's true. I'm going to need to see some of these diary rooms, because it's shocking to me how badly people seem to be playing. So firstly, we have the veto gets won by Jed, right? This is great. Jed's going to use it on himself. I'm rooting for Jed here. I'm like, I want Jed to do well. I like Jed. I don't know if you guys saw in the feeds, but there was a scene where Beth is telling Jed that she has a friend that only dates black guys that she wants to set him up with. And I'm like, isn't Jed saying that he is in love with Beth? Like, what is she doing? So I think that Beth is not that into Jed, especially as Jed is into Beth. So what they have decided to do in this house is to convince Jed to use the veto on Beth, and they would have Tara promise to put up Brayden. They say that they would vote out Jed. So that is what the plan is, to convince Jed to use it on Beth because Brayden will go up. Jed thinks that they will vote out Brayden, but really, apparently, Beth, Ty, and Kiefer are saying that they would vote out Jed. Now, obviously, like, that's not a good plan for Brayden. Tara said, like, was basically saying, like, no, I'm not putting up Brayden. But eventually, she tells Brayden that I have to do it. I feel like you're safe. You're in a good position. Like, don't worry. Like, and so she puts up Brayden after Jed uses the veto on Beth. He did it. So it's on the block right now is Jed versus Brayden, with Jed thinking that this is the biggest move of all time and the sauce is staying intact, when the sauce from the feeds have turned and would be keeping Brayden and voting out Jed when he had the veto and he saved his showmans. Savage, bad move. Why would you think that that's a thing? Why do you think it's a good move? Like, him and Ty are out in the backyard being like, this is the move. Like, I've been wanting to use this move on, like, oh, I've been thinking it's such a good move. I'm like, it's not a good move at all. It's good move when someone uses it on you, but like not if you have to stay up on the block. Like, it's not a good move. So I don't know 100% if the sauce is lying in the house and that Ty and Beth will keep Jed. But no matter what happens, if Jed does go home, he is most likely to beat the other person that is evicted on the fake double. And so he might just be right back, but pissed. So, I mean, they have no idea that this is happening, but like, it's just so ridiculous. It's just such a bad strategy, bad reasonings. I just don't get it. Oh my God, it's the new Marcellus, it's the new Lawan, like all these people that are making these bad friggin' moves. Like, it is the new Marcellus, and like they have to be 6 feet apart, so we can't see Arissa slapping the back of his head with her cue cards. BBCan9, I'm like so like I can't even watch the feeds right now because I'm just so frustrated with poor Jed being convinced to do something so stupid that it's just like I just don't want to see him get super hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for the fact that he has so much trust in this way with these people, and they're just so easy to just turn on him like that. And then like so sneakily, like I usually like sneaky game moves or whatever, but this one is just, I don't know, it doesn't feel good to me at all. I think it's because I think he really has feelings for Beth, and Beth I don't think is into him at all. I actually think that Beth was originally into Ty more, but then Ty friend-zoned her, so then she latched on to Jed to have some protection in this game, and now she's just going to cut him because she doesn't really care about him, and they live very far apart, and she's like actually like kind of savage and like, and it's not enjoyable. It's just so mean. I don't know. I don't like it. BB, do you like it? Natalie, do you like it? I don't like it at all. Like, I get it that she's saving herself here, like making sure she's taken off the block, because if Ty went up, Beth would probably have gone home. So, okay, good move, getting Jed to keep you in the game. But then to add insult to injury here and take him out when he just did that for you, he saved you in this game. It's just so savage for somebody that hasn't done anything but wanted you to be here. It's just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So that's the long story short of what's been going on this week. As it looks right now, from what I've been able to stomach watching on the live feeds, it does seem as though Jed is going to be voted out. I'm not sure who would be out next, but I would love for it to be maybe Keith. No, well, actually, that would be a great battle, Kiefer versus Jed, to get back in the game, the two that are most likely to win. That would be really cool. I want Jed to come back and make them all feel like garbage for being so, like, disingenuous. Beth told Jed that she wants to set him up with her friend. I briefly mentioned that before, but they're hanging out in the kitchen, and she's like, "Oh my God, I've been meaning to tell you this." And I'm like, "Okay, what is she meaning to tell Jed?" And she's like, "I have this friend, and she's short, she's blonde, and she really loves working out, and she would be perfect for you." And she's like, "And she only dates black guys." It's like, and he's like, "Oh yeah, really? Oh, okay." Like, why would you tell somebody that is definitely into you, at least into you in this house, that you're going to set them up with somebody? Like, if that's not a friend zone move, like, I don't even know what is. Like, if you guys are still sleeping in the same bed, like, you're still making out. He hasn't shown that he wants to be introduced to any of your friends. Like, I don't know, Beth. Ugh, Beth. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I did hear about this BB. I watched the feed. Beth knows not. Wait, I can't see. Where's my glasses? I can't see what it says. I'm tired, so I can't read when it's okay. So Beth knows not to talk like that. Hasn't she seen people say things like that? Well, and also though, like, she just. Did they show this on the episode? I can't remember, but there was a point where she was talking to Jed about his experience growing up in Canadian schools, and that, like, he was in his town, he was one of the only black people, and that he's faced so much racism and the N-word, and they don't really talk that much about black history in their school and stuff like that. And so she's like kind of showed how he's felt, and she has said things like she's never dated a black guy before or whatnot. But the fact that she's mentioning that, my friend only dates black guys, great, but it's like, what are you saying? You don't, and that you don't want to? It's just bizarre. So you heard? Yes. Oh, I heard. I watched it. I just was like, it was so cringe. I'm just like, oh my God, this guy loves you, and you're trying to set him up with your blonde friend that likes black guys? Like, it's just, Jed is whipped. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think so. But I think it's just because he's stuck in the house. Like, I think that his mom is not a fan of Miss Beth. So as soon as he comes out, and I think his mom has been keeping some choice clips of Beth and her things that she said, to show and share with Jed, so that we know that they'll have like a romance outside of the house. So that'll be interesting to see, like, if he has any comments for how his mom feels about Beth. But like, oh man, after Beth, if she does this move, like, his mom is going to be so angry. Oh, that will be fun. Some Twitter wars. Natalie, B. Bean, do you guys have any more tea that you want to talk about while we're seeing what's going on? Jed doesn't want to date Beth. You don't think so? Oh, best friend. He wants you. Yes, exactly. Like, that is such a friend zone move. And like if that were me, my heart would be broken. Like the guy that I'm into, and I'd be like, hey, like talking, and he's like, I want to sit you with my friend. It's like, okay, well, what about you? Does that mean that we're not a thing? Yeah. So that was a friend zone thing for sure. Brutal. So while you guys decide if you have anything else that you want to share on this little podcast, I'm going to do the deed and invite you guys all to subscribe to Reality Pop. It's going to be your next hub for all things reality. So on Reality Pop, we talk about Survivor, International Survivor, and Big Brother, and the Challenge All-Stars right now. So if you want to start diving into some of the content, there's a lot of top 10 lists. There's a lot of interviews with past Survivor players right now. And every week that goes by, it grows and grows. We have more and more content. So the block lives on Reality Pop. So join us again on Wednesday, where I'll talk with Jonathan about the veto ceremony. And hopefully then we can get involved in the insanity of this week. And I want to see how they edit this week. Like, who are they going to make seem like a mastermind? I have no idea. Who gets evicted? What does your gut say? My gut, I don't know if it's my gut or if it's what I really want, but I feel as though Jed will say the right things to make them feel guilty enough to not want to stab him in the back like that. It's just so nasty. I just can't, like, Ty, like, having conversations with Jed, like, after he's done this, and just, I can't picture Ty just stabbing him in the back like that, and then Beth just stabbing him in the back, like both of them. I know that's what they're saying that they're doing right now. I just can't imagine that they're going to, in the end, still do that. I have more faith in humanity, I guess. I don't know. But that's what I think. What do you guys think before we sign off? BB, what do you think? What's your gut saying? Natalie? Yeah, I really want Jed to stay. I don't want him to be taking out like this. But if he does go out, I need for him to come back in and be like, you guys are despicable human beings. That's what I want. If it's Jed versus Ty in the battle back, I will be disappointed. Oh my God, yes. Who do you want? Okay, yeah, last question is, who do you want to see? Say Jed goes. Who would you like to see Jed face off in the battle back the most? Kiefer would be delicious, but I just don't know if anybody's going to get him out next week. It would be Tara most likely, I think. I don't think it will be Ty. It could be Beth. That would be delicious. And then if Jed just beats her and she's gone, that would be sweet victory, sweet justice there. You agree? Yeah, like, I just think that they're going to have a heart. Like, I know that they were putting this all in motion because they wanted to have a shot to save the trio. And I don't know if it optically looks better for them to take him out this way. I just think that if sending him into the jury that angry and that hurt, people, I don't know, will respect that move because it just was so dirty. It might be too dirty. Tara, for you, that's what you want, or what you think in your gut? Jed versus Tara. I mean, I'd take that too, as long as Jed wins. I want Jed to win. If Jed goes out, I need for him to win against everybody. If Brayden goes out, then I don't care who wins, unless it's Jed. Like, right now, I feel like I'm rooting the most for Jed, because I feel like he's a really kind human being for the most part, and he's really about to be done dirty. Ooh, by Tara. Like Tara's HOH. Like, it's just, I I'm rooting for Jed. That's all I got to say. I think. You guys are good? We'll see you Wednesday on the block with Jonathan. Thanks, B. Thanks, Natty. Thanks, Jonathan, for chatting with us. And we'll see you on Wednesday.